Hey everyone, Dr. Franke here with a discussion video about a couple of different things. First, what I wanted to start out with was something that was kind of funny and something that I keep seeing thanks to Mr. Nick Shabazz. I wanted to talk about flippers, particularly the recent development of the phenomenon called the pocket pecker. So Nick coined this term almost accidentally one day during a video, and it's kind of stuck to describe flipper tabs that are disproportionately large. And what we have in front of us are a series of knives with and without flippers, but namely of flippers with varying different sizes and descriptions. And we're going to talk about each one a little bit and kind of get an understanding about why one might be better than the other and whether or not the pocket pecker is really something that we should be complaining about, depending on what knife it comes on. So I'm going to go ahead and start out with the most ludicrous one on this table right now. That's the Curtis F3. This pocket pecker is gigantic, and really it is quite long. It allows you to flip the knife perfectly, though. It's engineered that way on purpose to be that large so that you can get a perfect push button deployment or come up higher on it and do a light switch deployment. Whatever you want to do, you can do it with that. It does get in the way in the pocket just a little bit. The way that this knife hangs, things are going to be touching that going both directions. This knife is never deployed in my pocket because of it. It rides up high enough that it's usually away from the other contents of my pocket. Even if I put my cell phone in there, my cell phone will fall farther down than that. I usually put my keys in the same pocket as my knife because that usually falls down farther in the pocket, but it does become a hassle. This is a little bit big. I had someone on a recent Instagram post ask Dave if he could possibly make a smaller tab. Now, this is a well-engineered tab, but it is just a little bit big, and I think that some people hesitate to pick this knife up because of the size and the shape of that flipper tab. I think if it was a little bit more sleek or aggressive, I don't really know, not aggressive, but just a little bit smaller and just as functional, I think people would end up buying this knife a lot more often. I do love mine, though. Stepping down in a knife that people talk about a lot with regards to the flipper are hinderers. So this is the ZT take on the hinderer flipper. The real hinderers have a bit more of an aggressive tab up here with a little bit more of a hook on it. These are a little bit flatter, but they're still prominent flippers. The way that they're integrated into these knives is pretty brilliant. You know, as you hang it down in your pocket, this little ridge right here sort of creates that plane, and the flipper tab doesn't really get in the way, even though the flippers are prominent on this and they just stick straight out. So that's a smart little design philosophy there. Some knife makers consider doing that in the shapes of their knives. Now, some makers, like this Vagnino designed Velox 2 from Kaiser, the Vanguard series, has a very, very subtle flipper tab. This one is very small. It really only allows you to open it in one way. In this particular case, it's a push button deployment. The flipper tab hides away in the handle for a very sleek look there. Very nice lines going on there, not broken up by a large flipper tab. And then, you know, it just works that way. It works that way every time. It's small, it's nice, it works. So it can be done on a lot of different knives. And, you know, on a Curtis knife, I know it can be done as well. Check out this ODT flipper. This is a tiny, tiny little blade, and it's got the sleekest and most low profile of flippers. It's way up here, and it still works. It allows you to flip it out. He really engineered that one very, very well. Gotta love this little thing. I usually carry this one around the neck on a necklace when I do feel like carrying it. It's a neat little thing, and it does flip really well. So I know Dave can engineer a very sleek and small flipper. So, you know, tell me what you guys think about flipper tabs. Are they a problem when they get to be too big? You know, are you hesitant to buy a Curtis because of the flipper tab? You won't be the only one who's ever said that to me. I know Nick makes fun of these all the time when I show him pictures, but I mean, I really enjoy the way that it works. It doesn't really get in the way, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a make or break type of phenomenon for me in terms of buying a knife or not buying a knife. You know, usually I'm more interested in the blade and the blade steel, the handle and the materials. The flipper tab, as long as it works, is good with me. Now, I'm open to a lot of different ideas. I recently had the Riyadh Future from Tashi Barusha. It has that flat and wide flipper tab that's a lot more low profile, a bit like that. Lots of different options out there. Now, if you really just want to get rid of it, some people just aren't into the flippers at all. And, you know, I will have to say, even though I love a good flipper, my favorite deployment method remains the Spidey Flick. This Spyderco, this is not a Spyderco, this is a Resenti Nirvana, which I got after getting the Spyderco Nirvana because I realized that Resenti's work is so perfect. This is my favorite knife to deploy, simply because the best way to do it is with the Spidey Flick. You know, it's almost a little bit difficult to do it this way. You have to get your hand just right on the knife, but it's perfectly designed for that, and that's honestly my preferred opening method. I wouldn't mind seeing a few more of those, a few more knives coming out with that, be it from a Spidey hole like that, or the new 0850, which is actually getting sharpened today, so I don't have it. With that thumb disc or thumb barrel that you can just flick it open with. I really enjoy that. Let's talk about the status of the channel a little bit. So I've been moving some knives along here. These are all the knives that I have with me today, and I just wanted to bring them all out and just talk to you guys for a minute. I have some new knives coming in, and I had some other knives go out. So I got rid of the Hinderer Eclipse that has gone off to Australia to my good buddy Madman. I actually don't have the Olamic anymore either, but I am anticipating a couple of new knives coming in. I've got the new 0392, so I said that I wouldn't buy it, but I bought the 0392 BLK. I was actually so impressed with the way that this knife turned out that I've decided to take on another 0392 project. This time will be a little bit different approach, considering it's all black from the start, but I have a couple of good ideas and a couple of great guys willing to work with me on it. So I've got that coming in. I also have a order in for the Custom Tech collaboration between Robert Carter and Nick Chuprin. These guys are coming out with a new model of Robert's BBM model, and it should be really interesting. I ordered some very interesting sort of custom touches to it, and I'm really excited to see how that turns out. That should maybe be here in the first weeks of the next month, so of May, so we'll see how it goes. Anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in and watching. What do you guys think of the pocket pecker phenomenon? What kind of knives do you want to see on the channel? I've almost forgot. I think I have a couple of knives coming in from Adam Purvis again. He promised, he told me he would send me a couple of knives, so stay tuned for that. And I'm going to keep moving things along here. I'll get that 0850 back with the sharpened edge on it. The Para 3 is getting sharpened right now. I'm really tempted to buy the Native 5 in Maximet steel. As a matter of fact, I have, for the first time ever, EDC carried my Maximet Mule the other day. This thing has been getting a nice patina on that Maximet steel. I really love this knife. Had this thing sharpened down to about 15 degrees, and it's absolutely insane. But I've loved the Maximet steel, and I'm looking forward to that. I might pick up that Native 5 in Maximet as well. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Click like and subscribe for more videos. And as always, this is Dr. Frunky saying take care.